You said you checked out Chavia's interview. What was your thoughts?
My thoughts were it was just amazing how people were able to elaborate and express themselves, and you kept asking questions like, and they were great questions. I just love how you made them comfortable and how you make them feel welcome, and how it was more like it was getting entertaining each second. So that's what I really.
This is a collection of stories.
Landover Legend Studios presents.
I've been through a lot.
The I Can't Make This Up podcast.
Yeah.
My Big T.
Loved about it, because most interviewers or podcasts is, some people make it just about themselves, and it's just about the person doing it. And so, but when I saw yours, it was just a lot of people just coming through getting interviews, artists. It was just a whole, it was more like it was distributed out like in different areas. So I was like, man, that is very interesting. So when I saw that, it really made me interested. So
Yeah, the the beautiful thing about podcasting is I kind of took the reins and I used that creative freedom to structure it however I want it. You know what I'm saying? And
mhm.
I don't think that most people understand that when you're doing an interview, it's not your time to shine while you bringing your guest on or anything like that. If that's what I'm saying, if that's your platform, yeah, you have the right to do it, but you kind of you turn people off when you do that. So a lot of people probably get that misconstrued. And with me, what my form is, I don't want anybody to feel pressured. I don't want anybody to try to come up with the right answers or nothing like that. It's not about that. It's about us having a conversation organically as possible because to me that's what makes the best content.
Right, it does. It always does.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: where you from?
I'm from uh I'm from Lexington, North Carolina. I was
Hmm.
born in Winston-Salem, so that's where I'm from.
Oh, okay. Salem. That's a stretch.
Yeah, Winston-Salem is about from Lexington about 20-25 minutes away from, so it's not that far. I live in Lexington though.
Oh, okay. So basically, you came up there.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
that's
was
what's up.
born I was born in Winston and I live in Lexington.
All right. So let me ask you this: so what type of podcasts, if you do listen to them, what I'm saying, like what type of podcasts do you usually tune into on like a weekly basis? Like,
On a
what's your
week
what?
on a weekly basis, be honest, I mean, the only podcast I'm thinking about is really Apple Podcast. Excuse me. I mean, I really don't listen to a lot of podcasts like that.
Hmm.
You listen like interviews, like about on like Christian rap like radio stations that have interviews. Usually listen to stuff like that. I can't really say like what type of podcast or nothing. The first podcast I listened to was this podcast, so I mean,
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of people. Not to saying that takes away from audio listeners or anything like that, but a lot of people like to watch it on YouTube as well. So if it's something that not that I'm pretty sure you privy to, what I'm saying, it's always the option to do that as well. Because my show is on YouTube as well. I don't know if you knew that or not.
oh yeah, I saw it was on YouTube.
Yeah. So I was just curious, just to try to get a little background on you and everything. How old are you?
I'm 23 years old.
Okay, so you're not too much older than Chavis.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I mean, with that, well, not to be calling you young and anything, but with you
Mhm.
being so young and everything, right? Coming up in this day and age, how do you feel about the gospel music industry?
The gospel music, man, I've been hit with that question so many times. How I feel about the gospel music industry, how I feel is music is constantly evolving and styles are changing, things are changing, production is changing, the especially the marketing is changing. How I feel about the gospel industry now is that, like I tell everyone, just be you at the end of the day. Everybody has their own opinion at the end of the day, but I feel if you're you, you're gonna stick out. But in the gospel industry, it's more about getting a name and being on top instead of inspiring someone and spread out a positive message. And it's more about politics than anything. That's how I feel. It's mostly about politics. When we do stuff for God, no matter the shape or form, when it's in form of godliness, it shouldn't be about who's better or who's the one on top or who's the one that got the catchiest hook or the dopest beat or got the dopest producer. It's more about bringing souls to God and helping people out that go through, different things like different trials and tribulations and different struggles because everybody is flawed and everybody has their own issues. But it's more about bringing people closer to God than anything. Everything else is on the back end. God will work that out if it's meant to be. But that's how I feel.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't think that a lot of people put two and two together when it comes to blending the two. You know what I'm saying? The gospel with music. And at the end of the day, you got to remember that you're talking about an art opposed to, religion or faith. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So a lot of people don't know how to separate those ideally, and the only
mhm,
thing they do is they marry the two when it comes to thoughts or the person. It's just like you could talk about a person because of something they do, but you got to remember that they also have several identities. Like you're in school. You know what I'm saying? You got a
right,
career that you're doing, but you also make music.
right,
So they can't judge your musical talent for your work ethic or your career. That's something. I mean, not work ethic, but for your career talent. You know what I'm saying? So if you if you a good swimmer, right? You the
right,
best swimmer in the world, and you can't climb a mountain. No one's gonna judge you for that.
right. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Or no one should judge you for that, right? Because you're
Right,
strong in something else. You can't throw me in this other category and expect me to come out on top. And that's
right.
what you know what I'm saying, that's what a lot of people do. So they don't know how to separate those two things, whether it be ego or misery loves company or whatever the case may be. A lot of people get things misconstrued, in my opinion, uh when it comes to religion and blending that with the rest of the world. So, not that I'm saying you can't blend the two, but
Amen.
you can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't you can separate the thoughts without it. You know what I'm saying? Being so overbearing or so accusative or so political. I should say.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just my thoughts on the situation. I can't speak for the next person.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's the thing about, Christian music. It's more about, you know, who's in top 10 and who's in this and when you do something like wherever your art is or your talent or whatever you have, you want to get good at it. Like uh I'm in a graduate school right now.
Hmm.
I'm in graduate school at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. I just finished my undergrad at Appalachian State University, which is like in Boone, North Carolina. I graduated with a chemistry degree in forensics, and I got my forensic certificate while I was in school. Um, but you know, like I said, like it should be more about building each other up, correcting each other. When somebody falls, you help them or correct them where they're wrong, and stuff like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, the Landover Legend, aka Big T, and this is another installment of the I Can't Make This Up podcast. Today I have a very young and talented guest who hails from the Carolinas, who's a Christian artist and also looks like a aspiring forensics analyst, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. I would like everyone to welcome today Phillip Martin, man. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a blessing and an honor.
Hey, man. Like I said, I appreciate you for joining me today and sharing a little bit of insight on your life, man. I hope that people get something from this. But anyways, I'm going to let you introduce yourself to my audience.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Philip Martin Jr. I'm 23 years old. Currently, right now, I am a graduate student at University of North Carolina at Charlotte. Um, I'm hoping to obtain my criminology master's, and also that currently I'm working on a little music right now. Not too much because I'm in graduate school at the moment, but down the line, I have a single that I'm working on called "Through the Storm." That's gonna be on all platforms. So when it drops, I hope everyone tunes in.
No doubt, no doubt. So, what got you into making music? Like, was it a certain inspiration or
Yeah.
person?
So what got me into making music was as a little kid. I remember I used to develop a stuttering problem, like a real bad stuttering problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember people used to pick at me about it. And I remember like being real nervous about stuff. I remember it would affect, and this when I was like probably like I was a little kid, like within young age, within like 3 to 6 years old. And I remember um I had uh a second grade teacher that told me that, when I'm in class, we would read things and I would stumble across words. I would be stuttering words. Like in a book, you'll have a book and you in kindergarten or when you elementary, you'll read it. And I used to stutter words and it would affect like mentally how I used to think things and and one day she told me like I would never make it out. I would never be able to read and write on my own or be efficient. And so when I used to hear that, I would like write about my feelings and stuff and like write how I really felt, like really deep inside. I remember kids used to pick at me, make like little jokes about my stuttering. They'll say something like, blah, Philip, just doing, that's,
Mm-hmm.
kids get like that. But, when as time grew and I got older, I remember I did a poetry slam and I remember it was like something surreal, man. It was just, excuse me, I was with a bunch of people and it was like I can't remember, it was like 20 some kids or somebody doing poetry, doing like poetry readings or writing their own poetry and making their own art form. You had people doing poetry on a music beat. And I just said, hey, I'm gonna write about how I felt. And like, one of the things I said was, my pain was deeper than the ocean. You don't understand how I feel. That I was just going like in, like it was just things I would just think about. And I'm like, and I remember this one guy that I met in there that I mentored and talked to. He used to be a game banger and he was like, man, who in the world was that? And they were like, oh, it was this kid Phillip. Like he was talking about some. Most people say it was some deep personal stuff. He's like, man, he went to another side or another level with the poetry. He was like, man, dude, you gotta keep going. Like you really inspired me. The really stay in school. I'm like, and so most time as creators, you don't think certain things can inspire somebody to do something positive. Music can affect people in different ways. And this dude said that. He was like, yeah, man, you really inspired me and like you really helped me. I said, man, like this dude, we used to talk every day. And he said, man, wherever you do, man, wherever you go, I better hear some rhymes from you. That's all he said. I want to hear some rhymes from you. And I remember I was at this leadership meeting in high school that we went to in Charlotte or somewhere, and it was about, your leadership qualities and what type of leadership qualities you show in your school, what made you become a leader. And we went to it, and I remember I was at this thing in Charlotte. It was at Queens College, and it was these bunch of guys, and we would be writing stuff. And there was this one guy that was in there. He was a Atlanta battle rapper. I forgot his name. It was years ago. I remember we were in there. They were like, "Oh, this guy over here does Christian music." He was like, "Oh, he does?" They were like, "Yeah, he does." Then the Atlanta guy that raps, he does like drill music. So we were like, "Hey," it was like 20 of us in there. They're like, "Hey, we all need to get in together and y'all two throw rhymes at each other." I was like, "Man, I don't know about all of that, man. That's too late at night." It was like 12, 1 o'clock at night. We supposed to be in bed because we had like some station or group work we had to do the next morning.
Mhm.
Dude come out the blue playing a beat, just spazzing. I said, okay, I'm gonna have to show him what I got too. I saw we started going back and forth. I mean, at that time, I still needed work. I was okay, but that was like, man, that was about 4 to 5 years. I say about 5.5 years ago, maybe somewhere around there. But it was like in junior, senior level high school, and we were just going back and forth, just going back and forth. They were like, "Oh shoot!" One dude come in there, man, whose flow was that? He started. The one dude was like, "Man, I heard somebody talk about God, and he was just saying some crazy." I'm like, "Man, what is that dude saying in there?"
Hmm.
And it was just amazing. And like, he was like, "Man, I got a lot of respect for you, man." He's like, "We both need work, man." We laughed about it. I said, "Yeah, we do need work." Like, but I said, "Yeah, man." They were like, he was like, "Yeah, man, you're gonna be pretty good when you get older and wiser and gain more experience." He was a little older than me, I think, at that time, but it was, it was pretty fun. It was real fun.
That's what's up, man. How old was you when you got into it with the battle rapper?
Man, I wasn't like, God, I was like that. It was like 17, but it wasn't like battle rap. It was just it was like just a
Yeah.
one-time thing, just having fun that night. Like, I'm not a battle rapper or a freestyler. The Lord doing it like that.
Yeah.
But it was just like at that moment, I was like, okay. Then, then that night we switched to writing something. And I was like, okay, let me see what I can write. Cause everybody was like, oh, it's this Christian guy in here. This one dude was like, oh, it's this Christian guy in here. Man, this dude gonna be something. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be something too, man. I said, I appreciate that, but I was like mad young. I said less than about 16, 17, probably somewhere around there. But it was just for that one night, just having fun. So,
Okay. Outside of that particular situation, and Christian artists, is there anybody like in the rap game that you like as far as their cadence or their flow or whatever?
oh wow, man, it's so many. It's really so many. So, I used to listen to Lecrae. Many probably heard of Lecrae.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I started really listening heavy, to Seven. He's a Christian artist. Seven, Show Barranca, um, and yeah, Seven, Show Barranca, um, and Bizzle. Them are like the only two. Them like the only three. It's so many others. Lecrae, Bizzle, Show Barranca, and Seven. Like, so them are my favorite artists. The one thing I like about, and Lecrae is good too. I you gotta he done made it out the
Mm-hmm.
mainstream, and went outside the church with his music. And also I love Seven because Seven has like this certain type of, he has that music that'll make you think about your day and be like, okay, what can I do to be better? Like that's the thing that's missing in Christian music. I feel like when people listen to music, the first thing they go, and you can agree with me as well. First thing when they listen to that music, first thing they ask is the beat hot, or man, is that a dope beat? They don't listen to words, they don't listen to the message, and it's like, okay, so what makes the point of it being music if it's no message to it? Um, and Seven, I listen to him a lot. Like I listen to his old stuff. Seven, he talks about one of his songs going through a spiritual warfare. He talks about going through lust. He talks about going, sleeping with girls and stuff. He talks about a whole lot of different areas that he has struggled with, and talks about how he's overcome them.
Mhm.
And he's talked about depression, talked about how he overcame, you know, addiction and all that stuff. So Seven is there. Bizzle is more like, he's more like a punchline guy. But if you not listen to the music, it'll just go right over your head. Like you have to sit and listen to him, listen to his message and listen to stuff like that. And Sho Baraka has like this, he has like this old school style, like a more like a Eastern type flow. Um, so that's he makes like some old throwback old school. It's almost like the boom bap. But it's more like real old school
Mhm.
flavor in a way. So them are like my top 3 to 4 I can name right off the bat. There's many more that's really dope out there and deserve to be in that, you know, top category. But them like the ones I listen to on a regular basis.
Okay. So, you don't listen to anything outside of Christian rap, basically?
Not really. I mean, I might listen to like some R&B, man. I might listen to R&B. I might listen to a little like J. Cole and Kendrick, the stuff that speaks positive messages.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing with all that cursing and nothing all that craziness, like talking about women. That's one thing I don't like listen to, like the stuff that degrades women, or I don't like listening to stuff like that. If I got I really don't. Like that's something I don't listen to. I might listen to a couple R&B, but mostly it's gospel, might be a gospel R&B, or worship music, like you like Yolanda Adams, um uh stuff like that. Mostly Yolanda Adams. I listen to her music um every now and then. Oh, and Tamala Man. I couldn't remember the name. I said I know something to do with worship. I said Tamala Man, take me to the King. So stuff like that. So that's really about it. I might listen to a little jazz, when I'm studying with my work, doing my schoolwork or something. I might throw in a little jazz, some like sweet soul jazz, like listen to it. Just I might just listen to the instrumental, to be honest. So while I'm
Mm-hmm.
studying, it helps me keep focus and stuff.
There's a lot of artists out there that get thrown into the majority pool when it comes to, rap and hip hop these days that do speak positively, what I'm saying, that, not that I'm trying to pressure you or anything. I'm just saying that
Mhm.
in the general audience, a lot of people misconstrue these artists because of their name or because of the culture and the way it's, you know, looked at on TV or in the media or whatever. So, like Big Crit, have you ever heard of him?
Oh yeah, I heard a Big Crit.
Okay, have you ever listened to his music?
I probably listened to one song. I can't remember what the song was named, to be honest.
Okay, so outside the fact that he does cuss, Big Crit is one of the dopest, most talented people in the rap industry. And when I tell you he wears so many hats and his body of work speaks uh, far beyond what he should be considered in the game right now. So The only reason I bring it up is because a lot of people only have that one perception, and I'm not saying you only view it that way, but if you don't know, then how could you have what I'm saying a full look at the big picture.
Mm.
So a lot of people like judge artists off the way they look or by a certain single that they hear on the radio, because you got to remember, when it comes to music industry, it's a business, and the only
It
thing they care
is.
about is making money. So when I think about it, I go back and I listen to artists' old stuff, the stuff they got before they put on their underground stuff, and then I compare it to what they putting out now, and I can see who changed and who kept it 100. Because usually those independent artists are the ones who develop this underground cult following that trickles on to the mainstream, and they kind of get carried over well, as long as they don't let the machine into their head and into their life and integrate into all movements of their career. I believe that they're better off, just from my opinion.
And that's I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes we get judgmental at people, and you you're supposed to judge the fruit by which they carry. And and also, God is the only one that judge. Like, that's between God and them. Like, because we have all fallen short, and also that's not our place to point fingers and judge them, and, like, keep pointing them, and you get what I'm saying? It's
Hmm.
not our place. Our thing is to pray for them, and if there is any, conviction that needs to be addressed, that it'll be addressed, and God will deal with it. So,
Yeah, you're right. Have you ever had like criticism that interfered with your artistry, like as far as um like your parents or whatever, or your peers, or even people in the church? Like, have they ever criticized your work or made you feel like you should change what you're doing, or in any way or
when
form?
to be honest, I only dropped, so, like, one mixtape so
Hmm.
far. That's been like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Um, Also, on my Insta, on my IG, I used to drop freestyles and remixes and did challenges. The criticism, i- it's a difference when it's somebody's trying to help you, but it's a difference when somebody's like, "Hey, your sound isn't up to date. You need to change it." I'm like, well, dang, like, to me it sounds good, but it's more like, okay, we got to make things up to date. You got to make things up to date, man. If you don't make things up to date, I receive that all the time. Like, people listen to my tape, be like, man, it sound good, but it just sound like a little dated, or you need to get doper beats and ride on this mainstream wave to get people to come in. Like, I think the biggest criticism I think I had was, um you know the common structure for a song is two verses and a hook, or is yeah, he's all right. Oh man, I kind of got tired after the third verse because I felt the song was too long. Okay, you say the song is great, but then you say it's too long. Like, it doesn't add up. um so I think that was another criticism. Another criticism I had was, why ain't why don't I dress or have the persona of the rapper type? Because when most people see me out in public, or most people that had class with me, I'm a calm guy. I don't really say much. I'm just Phillip. When I'm in them classrooms, like with professors, I don't first thing out my mouth isn't rap when I'm in school. When I'm in school, I'm doing that book. I'm doing that work, because professors don't really, people, when you in school or doing other things, people don't really care about you rap. Only thing it is, college is a business as well. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do and get out of there. You invest into college, as you invest into graduate school.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying. So and it was, and I remember I had a professor. It's been multiple professors I built bonds with at my undergraduate. I remember my first criticism. I think it wasn't criticism, but it was a shock to a couple professors, especially this one professor. The school had did a newspaper about I was a Christian artist, and she was like, "Oh, you do Christian music?" She was like, I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." One of my favorite professors ever. She said, "Oh, is it like a bluegrass or country?" I said, "No." I said, "It's not." She said, "Oh, what type of music is it?" I said, "Oh, it's like Christian rap, like me rapping." She said, "Oh, does it talk about God?" And I think with most people, when they hear that term rap, because the way rap is treated in today's era, people are going to automatically assume, oh, he's talking about guns and smoking and talking about sleeping with women. And I'm not going to talk about that because I never lived that life. I'm just not going to be talking about that foolishness just to get a check or be on the spotlight or become famous. I'm just not going to do that. Um, and she said, "Oh, it's Christian rap." So I sent it to her, and she said, "Wow, that was awesome. I really didn't believe that that was Christian rap or whatever." That's what she said. And I had another professor. I think I had calculus one with. She said, "Oh, you have a Christian band? Is it like rock and roll?" I was like, "No, it's not rock and roll. It's Christian rap." She said, "Oh." And most people back away because that rap term. They'll just back away. Like,
Mhm.
oh, oh, that's rap. Oh. But when I explained it to them and tell them about the history of it, I made them feel comfortable about it. They were like, "Oh, okay, that was awesome. I didn't know you were really talking about that. Wow." Like, I really felt, some inspiration from that. And she said, "Anything that praises God, I would please send it my way." And so I started building connections with professors outside of the classroom because how I feel about class and college and stuff. Education is important. Like, everybody needs that. Now God has callings for different people, and that's between them and God. Like, I can't speak on them, and they can't speak for me. But it was just different, like, with certain professors. I started building relationships with. They're like, after, but I would tell them after my class is over with, after they put them grades, so they don't say, "Oh, this guy's just worried about rap all day." Just
Yeah.
something like that. But I was able to build bonds, and you know I got this one teacher now that just messaged me not too long ago, about a couple weeks ago. Man, she calls me Phillip or Mr. Martin. I'm waiting on new music, and this other professor, I'm waiting on some more music, man. Like, where's the music at? So
So you heard these people say these things, and I mean, of course, you're gonna take it on the chin and feel how you're gonna feel, but you don't have to change what your art is. What your music is. Your music is your music. Now, of course, if you want to grow as an artist and you have a goal in mind of what you want to do, like
mhm.
attain a certain following. Not that I'm saying you looking for followers or anything, but um, you know, if there's a certain plateau that you want to reach one day, right? Not that you have to follow any trend or not that you have to mimic anybody else in order to reach that plateau, but you can uh, tweak your sound or not just update it, but make it so that everyone that you want to listen to, and not just people who listen to Christian music, but people who enjoy music. Period. You know what I'm saying? Make it so that everyone can say, "Hey, this isn't Christian. This isn't a great Christian rap song. This is a great rap song." You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, at least that's the way I see it. That's the way people should do it because when especially in these day and age, more people are starting getting recognized instead of being labeled as, a black comedian or a black artist or a hip hop artist. This is just a musician or an artist. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? So that should be the goal at the end of the day to, like I said earlier, separate the whole of it being just a Christian rap or it just being a rap about God. It's just a rap that's good music that's pertaining this particular subject matter. And it's not only pertaining that, or what I'm saying, it's about me spreading the message, and this is how I did it lyrically.
hmm right. That's how it should be at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I mean, not everyone gets that concept, and not even people think about that. Like you said earlier, some people do it for the check, and that's fine if that's the way you want to carry things, but that ain't for everybody.
It's not, and that's one thing I had to learn because I'm working on this project, man. And when I say when it comes out, it's gonna be, I say probably less, and this is all Lord willing. Like as humans, we all have dates on things, and we say, oh, this is gonna happen at this day and time, and you just gotta wait on what God says. If God say no, it's not ready yet, you need to wait. But I remember the business is about a check, man, because I remember so many times like people will try to get over on you and mess you over because I remember it was one incident, man, that this one guy paid for an exclusive beat for, and he's working on the beat, sending me updates and drafts, but then he just go ghost. And when I contact him and say, "Hey, man, I paid you for a service, and you never got the beat back to me. You just sent me drafts, like video drafts of you doing the process and getting together." He gonna come back and say 3 to 4 weeks later his computer crashed. I'm like, okay, but where is my beat? Like you kept saying, oh, this thing gonna pop. He kept saying it's gonna pop, it's gonna do numbers, it's gonna do all of this. But I'm saying, okay, where's my beat? And I'm like, dude, and then he said, oh man, I really don't have it at the moment. Somebody hacked into my computer. I'm like,
What?
what? This is like a pop. I said, what? And And so, and I'm really like an upcoming artist. I'm not no big superhero artist or on the plateau, but I've improved a lot and I've grown a lot. But I mean, and this was last year. And like, me searching for producers because buying beats, man, as an artist can be very pricey because everyone is out for themselves. Everyone is not going to make a sacrifice and sacrifice their platform in order to bring yours up. That's how it works in the music industry. Like if somebody see you booming or popping or doing great, and you might want an exclusive, you might be paying $1,000 or more just for that beat, just to own it. And for other services, you probably paying more with that just because I see this guy popping or doing big things. What I'm gonna do is make sure I get my fair end of the cut. And so, I had to wait last year. I said, man, I need me a dope producer, or at least get me a couple. How I look at music is working with one producer is fine, but I always try different sounds. When I listen to my favorite inspirations of artists, they have different producers, different, they might have one or two engineers on the sound. It makes it collectively better instead of just, okay, that was like the one hottest song on the whole thing. Just because you work with one producer, I just feel like, sometimes you can try to step out the box a bit. And so I had to wait for a while. And, I was like, man, I can't find no producers. People was like, man, you need just lease beats. And, this is the business music producer business artistry talk. You just need to lease beats, man. Like this one guy told me, man, you're gonna pay like 5 to 7K on production or beats alone, and then you got to worry about engineering, mixing, mastering. I said, I'm not gonna spend that. I told people that, I said, I just believe that if I sit down and search and take my time and find producers and try to build a rapport with them, because I tell people all the time within business, if you treat people well and treat them respectfully and show love and care, people don't mind looking out. But if you all think you trying to get over on them or being rude to them, people you just gonna get hit over the head.
Hmm.
I mean, that's just how it is. And I had to wait. And I remember this one song, this one guy, man, I just couldn't believe it. And this one guy, he said, "Hey man, I know you through somebody, and I really want to look out." So I'm like, "You really want to look out?" And because I'm sitting as an upcoming artist, you only have a certain budget, and you can only do this so much. I said, "Man, he probably gonna want some money or something." And so I said, "Hey man, so how much you charge for beats or custom?" "Oh, nah, man, you ain't got to worry about that. I got you for free."
Hmm.
Huh? I said, "Okay, God is starting to move." Okay, I get a beat from him, and at first I'm sitting there looking at the beat like, "Man, this a hard beat," but I just don't know if it's really for me. And I spent forever on that thing. When I say I was sitting, excuse me, got the beat sometime late last year. I say maybe, man, August through sometime August, October, got it somewhere around there. I'm sitting on the beat going to bed. I said, "Man, I can't think of nothing." I'm sitting there listening to the beat while I'm doing homework. Like, I'll just be doing listen to the beat while I'm doing homework, just vibing with it, in case something come up. I'm like, "Well, darn, I still can't think of nothing." So I'm sitting, going back, chilling. I said, "I'm just gonna get in the car and just ride a bit and listen to it." Boom, ideas start coming. I said, "Okay, now it's starting to come." Then this other guy, um, this guy charges a mad expensive price for exclusives, probably about the cost of a rent of an apartment,
Hmm.
and for real, probably a month. And I said, "Man, this beat is fire. It's it's um it's it's for my next song called Through the Storm, like Through the Storm, that's gonna be coming out real soon." So I said, "Man, that beat is so fire, man. I wish he could um like give a discount or look out or something, because because when you hear that beat, you like, man, I'm about to tear this thing up." You'll just be bobbing your head to it. And I went and talked to him. I say, "Hey man, I'm a college student." I said, "If there's anything I can help your platform, you want me to shout you out or help you with anything, I don't mind doing that." You know, because in music business, you gotta know how to do your business correctly. And I'm still working on how to do my business correctly. Everybody has a learning curve, and everybody got to learn in order to grow. So
Mhm.
so he was like, "Yeah, man." It was just a blessing how God moved things. He said this one guy wanted to be, and he was offering a price higher than what I was giving. I'm like, "Man, this junk would go dope on a project or album, man." I said, "Man, that beat would," because I already had like the verse, the hook written to it, the bridge. Like, I had a singer, I wrote it and had the singer like perform like what I thought in my head. And I said, "Man, that thing would be dope for me to put two verses on it." And he come back and say, "Hey man, I told the guy that the beat is not for you, and I told the guy that this beat is for Phillip." I said, I'm saving this for him." He was like, "Hey man, I really believe in what you got going on." He said he wants to see the project. He said, "So I'm gonna cut down the price to something very affordable, man. And you know, the beat is yours, man." He said, "Anything I can do to help?" You know what I'm saying? I was like, "God, like, you really are moving." And it was just, I just couldn't believe it. And I got other producers, man. This one dude, he sell beats. He let me get a beat, I think, for like 40 to 50 bucks. And it's this thing, the thing is just fire. He say, "Hey man, it's yours. I know you want to hit the ground running. Just go ahead and pick what beat you want, and it's yours. You know, because most people have this industry talk of like, oh, you got to spend $3,000 on an exclusive. You gotta go to the biggest studios. I'm be like this. For my mixtape. I went to a guy's house and recorded that mixtape. I wasn't in no big studio with these synthesizers and amps and all that stuff. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't there doing that. You know, it was just a mic. And I was recording about in his living room. So I mean, you don't have to have all that stuff to be known or to make good sound quality music.
I think that when they were saying that, you don't necessarily have to, you know, hook up with Dr. Dre or nothing like that, but you know what I'm saying. You do have to be in a certain professional facility to get a certain sound, um, that's going to separate you from everybody else. So it's not about your setting; it's about the quality of the sound of your music,
Right.
not the content. So uh, they might have exaggerated that just to give you a little kick in your thought process when it moving. Like it's nothing the matter with recording in the living room, yeah, but once you have an ear for music like engineers do, and they can tell you, what they hear in the background of your music, or where you recorded it, or what type of mic you have when you recorded it, and stuff like that. So when people when people talk to you about your music, and I don't want to say that they give them critiques, but when they say stuff like that, they're telling you from experience. So you 23, right?
Right.
So you've been making music for like the past 5 or 6 years, something like that, right?
Yeah, about 4 to 5. Yeah.
So you probably was talking to somebody who's been in the industry or in the A&R game or in the production game for probably twice that length. So I don't think they're speaking to tell you that, this is what you have to do. They said they're telling you based off experience. And I'm telling you based off of the many musicians that I know and I grew up around. So I can tell the difference between someone who recorded something in their closet in their bedroom and someone who recorded something in the studio just off sound quality. That's the way my ear is set from my ear and my experience and my love of music. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So let me ask you this: so when the guy quote unquote computer got hacked, whatever happened with that situation?
So he kept he so he said, it just fell through. I just said, all right, man, because when thing about me is I always try to save money. I just don't go out because that beat online is $500, and I'm like, oh, that's a dope beat. I'm gonna go ahead and buy that $500. Why? I mean, not buy that beat for $500, but why? But why would you buy that beat for $500? You don't. Yeah, I mean, you don't have the money behind it. Okay, you got the talent and everything, but why would you buy that beat for 500 when I got somebody that could hook me up for 150 to remake that beat and something better? And the thing is with beats and stuff, like the guy that gave me for this new song called Through the Storm that's gonna be out, he told me, he said, man, I could give you that beat um for like, a big amount. Just give it to you and worry about, how many beats I sold, and just be like the average producer out in the game. Because some producers are like that. They sell the beat online. Somebody come up with this big pricing. Oh, I'm just worrying about getting the beat out there. You're not trying to follow up with the artist, seeing how they're going to grow and get involved, and you just out there just throwing it. Hey man, I just out there made about $700 today, man. I sold my beat. I don't care what that artist does, but this guy, he's like, nah, man. Um, I'll give it to you so I can, see your growth with it once you record it, and you moving forward with it. Like he didn't treat it as like, oh, I'm trying to get some money today, so I'm gonna try to hit him over the head so I can bring in some revenue. He didn't see me like that. So, with that situation, like the guy that says computer guy had, I just said, you just got to learn how to take an L. Because I mean, you can chase the money, like try to zoom and do all that stuff, but I was like, I was mad about it, and I just didn't like how his business went. And I've been in a situation before, man, that this one guy sold an exclusive to me, and he sold that exclusive to somebody big before me. I'm like, man, you can't do that. That's I'm like, what? And I said, yeah, I'm just gonna be cautious about it because, excuse me, people nowadays they'll just try to take advantage of you. And the thing about me, that okay, cool, I took a L, but I'm not gonna let that L dictate and make me carry business over my creativity. Cause sometimes when we get played so many times, we'll put business over creativity, and all of a sudden your creativity is like, you're not making nothing, or just, you're just not doing anything. So I mean, it was just, it hurt a bit now, but I just said I'm gonna keep moving and try to find people that's really trying to work with me and like really want to see me grow, because that's what really that mattered. Like the money will come on the back end. That's what that guy said when he gave me that beat. He said, "Hey man, I'm gonna give this beat to you because I believe." That's all he said. When he said that, he said, "Go and send the payment." Where he said, he put it like this: "Whatever you can afford, go ahead and send it to me." Most people in the game, man, most people not gonna do that. Most people, it's more about a check, or how many beats you sold in one day. Oh man, I got so much revenue for them beats, but you don't know who's getting on them, where the beats going. Like you just you know, worrying about, oh, I made $1,000 based off leasing that one beat. You know what I'm saying? So it's man, it's really a blessing, man, because as an artist, I love doing projects and throwing a song out there too. And you'll sit there and think like, man, how can I afford to get my own stuff, our own beats and stuff like that without it being overly crazy in the budget? And these guys, man, it almost felt like, man, I'm sitting. I said I'm sitting at a top star hotel. That's how I was being treated, for real, for real. Like you just don't know. You just don't know until you ask, and you just don't know when until you start treating people correctly. Like, because to be honest, I have a whole lot more to grow, bro. Like with school being involved, I said I have a whole lot more to learn, but it's a blessing, man, for real.
No doubt, no doubt. I think that, like I said earlier, you still young, so you got a lot more growing to do, not just in music, but in life.
Right.
So just I've been in situations like that when I was your age and even younger. You know what I'm saying? I learned that you got to know who you're dealing with when it comes to business. Me personally, I would have handled the situation a little differently, but that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying?
That man,
So
that man was about to going call the police on that man.
I mean, it's choices in life, and some of them some of them make you feel better. Others, can cause you trouble. So at the end of the day, it's all about choices. So let me ask you this: What happened? What got you into forensics?
Oh, forensics. Oh, I love, man. So as a kid, I remember I was in high school, and that it was this. I had this teacher. He was an African teacher, and we would be in class, and he would talk about different different experiments. He At one time he did a experiment on, what was it? He did an experiment on nitrogen gas and some type of fume hood or something. He had like a fume hood in his room, and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna make an experiment in class today. So he had it all, his gas machines and all these different like things. And he was talking about he was studying this drug or something for his research. And he had this big old microscope. It's like, I see. I can't remember how many different types of microscope. I know there's a comparison microscope, a stereoscopic microscope. Man, you just got so many microscopes. He was studying the drug, and I was like, I think I was in class. I might have been. That was maybe 11th or 10th grade in high school, and he was just looking through it. He was telling me like, it was after class. Once he did the thing, he said, "Hey, Philip, I want to show you something." Because we talked about what our aspirations were and what we wanted to do and what type of things we love to do on the side and hope to make them an aspiration with our main career and stuff like that. He said, "Oh, I'm studying this drug." And he's told me like, "Hey, this drug says, what the classification of it is." He could tell how much the drug weighed. He did like some math testing on the drug. Man, this man had it going on. And I was like, man, that is so interesting. He said, yeah, when you study drugs, you gotta collect the drug this way. And he's looking through the microscope, showing me like different type of crystals in the drug. I was like, wow, like that is really like awesome. And then he told me about his research that he did for his master's degree. And he said, oh, this is pretty. He was like, oh, like I think he showed that he had to present a presentation or something about his drug that he studied. And I was like, wow, that is very interesting. And I said, I love looking at forensic files because I used to watch forensic files. I remember in high school, I watched them like Dr. G Medical Examiner,
Hmm.
CSI Files, Law and Order. I would look at them and write music, take a break, go back to watching it, and he told me about it. He was like, "Yeah, I think you would do good in this." And I remember in class, that we had a final exam, and I don't do this to be bragging about it, nothing. But I remember we had a final exam in chemistry, and the thing was an honors course, I think, and I think I was the only person that really passed that final exam that we had. I think I passed it with a 89 or 90 or something on it. And so he was like, "Oh," he told came back and told me what I made. He said, "Oh, have you thought about doing drug toxicology or any forensic work?" I said, "Yes, sir. I watch a lot of medical examiner shows. I watch a whole lot of that forensic files. I look at how people collect evidence, how blood can tell like where like the way blood splatters, if where the person shot was at point blank range, was it at a trajectory angle, stuff like that." And so that's what made me more interested in it. And when I first got into my undergrad freshman year, I had a professor. He was a homicide detective, and so I come into class, man. And when your first week of undergrad as a freshman, excuse me, you're like, man, like did this because I came from a school that was only about 500 to 700 kids,
Hmm.
and you go into in college, you got like 30,000 people, 20,000 people walking that campus. You're gonna feel odd there because like you're not the only one there. And like you got all different type of other people. I come in the classroom, I'm sitting there, I was, because as a freshman, you're trying to get your wits about you, you're trying to figure out where to go, how to manage your time wisely. Sitting there in the front, I come through the door, and the door I used to go to class in, it will make this squeaking noise. So if you walk through it, somebody know who came through it, or if you were late or anything, come through the door, all looking and stuff. Our first week, he bringing a K9 dog in there. I'm like, man, why is this dude got a big old K9? And it's just sitting right in front of me, staring at me. And I said, Lord, he said, hey, he told me, hey, Philip, I need you to stand up for a minute. I'm like, why what, hold on, I didn't do anything crazy. He said, he did a test with the dog. He said, "I need you out your seat, whatever." So he had like all these. He told a couple people to leave and a couple people to stay because
Hmm.
it's like this experiment he was doing. He said he was gonna have like some type of chemical or whatever, see if the dog could sniff it out. He was gonna mix it with different other chemicals and see if the dog could sniff it out and pinpoint where it was at. So he put the things in different spots or around the classroom. It was a criminal justice class. So I'm sitting there like, wow. And then the dog was able to tell like where the smell was coming from, and he would go to it and bark to it. I was like, wow, that is awesome. Like the way dogs smell, man, and stuff. It was just crazy. He gonna try to pat me on the back. You don't have to be scared of nothing, man. Like what you being scared about? I was like, nah, I mean, that dog is, he was just, hey, I don't want you, that thing jumping on me. I'm sitting in the front row. You bringing a big old canine with he had the FBI unit there, the SWAT team, and they were talking about different tests they perform on drugs. Like you can sprinkle something, and if the indicator shows a different color, then that person has that type of drug or something like that. So, it was just crazy, man. Like how, you know, forensic, how you can analyze drugs with different techniques and different tests.
So, do you plan on getting into law enforcement with your degree?
Yeah, I plan on getting into some law enforcement. I plan on doing some um some criminology work or being like a homicide detective. We're collecting evidence and just sending it off to a lab. Because that's what I did. I mean, chemistry. I love chemistry too, so it's kind of hard one. But right now I'm in just criminology. So criminology is basically the study of like criminal justice, studying data. What does that data tell you, or what does it mean, and stuff of that nature.
Okay, that's what's up. Not too many people that I know of go that route. I know a lot of people that become like morticians or biologists, but a lot of people either go the military route or the police force route,
Hmm.
and not too many people take the scientist route for forensics. I mean, it's more and more. It's been popular since about 17 years ago, in my opinion, that you hear more people speak about it or more people have interest in it. But it wasn't, till that back then when it started to really get a rise in career choice.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, what's next for you? I know that you still in school. I know that you're working on your next project and everything. Is there anything outside of musical school that you're working on?
Um, not that I, not that I know of that I'm really working on. It's just um the music in school and working on this project, man. This new song for Through the Storm. Yeah, it's really gonna touch people, man. It's just how, the stuff that I got in that song, man. It's gonna be,
I feel you. It's gonna be deep,
yeah,
and
it's gonna be deep, man. It's gonna be.
that's what's up. That's what's up. So besides school and music, are you working or you just in school?
I'm just in school right now. Um, that I haven't worked yet. I hope after this semester, hope to get an internship or something like that. But I'm always gonna keep the education, man. Because like I said, music is cool, music is great. I still have a passion for it. But when them bills come in,
Are you talking about school loans?
no, not school. I'm talking about just like when you go up in your career and
Mm-hmm.
when you living on your own and stuff like that. It's cool to do music. Don't get me wrong, but when them bills come in, man, them bills ain't gonna hold back nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, You know what I'm saying? That's why I said like education is like important. Now I'm still gonna grow and I'm still gonna go hard, like because that's just me. I'm just not gonna just say like, oh, um, oh, I know I'm in school. I'm just gonna put out some crazy music. My friends gonna be like, man, what is this? What are you doing? Nah, man, it's not it. Cause that's the thing that I was gonna refer back to earlier, and we can talk about as well, is that most engineers, when I recorded my mixtape, engineer is supposed to say, now people have different opinions. People don't agree with this, everybody's opinion at the end of the day. Engineer is supposed to tell you, hey, this not it. Go back and record that again. I mean, I've seen engineers in studios. I've been in many studios before. Engineers with clients or artists, they know that person record when they record that part. That thing was not good. They'll just throw a whole bunch of reverb and all these effects, and I'm like, and then they'll just gas them up, man. Yeah, they were like, oh yeah, man, that part hot. He was like, yeah, I think I killed it. You really did. The person is just doing it just because if I stop and teach them, that's not bringing in money, but that's your job as an engineer to be like, hey, let's backtrack a bit and let's work on this. Because I remember, man, I was in a session with this one guy. I got a song that I'm gonna be dropping a song with too soon. Um, I was in there with him, and I was in there with the other guy. It was a track. It was on my mixtape. It was two guys on the track with me. Um, and we all get in a session, and when you learning and you see somebody else above your, I don't like saying above your talent, but got more experience and like, just goes crazy when on the mic. And when as a learning artist, when I recorded that song with them guys, I'm sitting there like, man, I'm gonna have to make sure I don't get scraped on my own track. When I say scrape, I mean get blown off, because some music artists get blown off. I'm like, nah, I ain't getting blown off my track. I don't care if it's gonna take me, but I'm gonna tell them, hey man, just give me a while, because you're not gonna just blow. Just, I mean, it's a difference when y'all going back and forth at it, like, oh shoot, you know what I'm saying? And they might say, oh, it might be a little tie something, but no, it's not gonna scrape me off my own track. And I remember I was in a session with one of them guys, and um that he's gonna be on my project as well. And he's in the thing. I'm sitting there practicing, rehearsing my verse. I'm like, man, I'm trying to get the cadence and these flows and energy right. He come in there, hey man, now this is what he said. He's like, hey man, after what I do is not my verse out, so you have time to get yours in. I'm like, man, I'm like, man, you probably ain't gonna go crazy. That dude, not that thing I want to take. I said, oh my gosh, because you starting to get uncomfortable bit. Like, man, can I really hang with this guy? Like, it's like, can I really hang with him? But and the thing is, and it was so, it was good. They were giving their criticism in the session. Like, no, you rushed that part. You sound out of breath. You breathing too hard, man, or something like that. And I learned an engineer, man. I just believe engineers shouldn't be, you can't tell nobody they can't record or they can't record there, but try to coach them a bit through it. I just see engineers just take the people in. They'll just think they sound good on the mic, and then they just throw a whole bunch of stuff on. I'm like, man, I mean, but I'm not saying I'm better than anyone, because I still got learning to do. But I just feel like coaching, the engineer that coaches makes the artist become the better version of themselves. Everybody has a different opinion on it, but
So, not to defend all engineers, but you got to look at it like this, right? That one particular situation. Let's say this was a person that was looking out for somebody, or that artist begged this engineer uh, to discount him for his services, right?
Mhm.
Do you think a person that's doing something for free, or that had to put up with like somebody who was late, or someone who was, trying to cheapen the deal that lessened the quality of his work, you think they're going to take the time out to help this person out after they did it for free, or they showed up late, or what I'm saying, didn't treat his business as such?
No, I mean, that is a good point though.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think both sides of the coin when it comes to situations like that. I mean, if you were sitting there, you obviously, what I'm saying, you didn't whisper in the engineer's ear like, "Hey, man, you think that, you could give him a little advice, or tell him, that didn't really sound that good, right?" Because at the end of the day, that's business between two other men outside yourself. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
a lot of people don't. It's okay to voice your opinion, but you got to remember that you don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Mm.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people, like you see on the media these days, they take a situation that you see on the front page and they give their 2 cents. But were you there? How do you know all the details? How do you know, what led up to that interaction or that situation? You know what I'm saying? So you'll never know because you're not in that man's mindset or that person's mindset. Two people could have a disagreement and it can look like it was, Armageddon or whatever the case may be. But you don't know the history behind it. You don't know that that's just how they deal with stuff. Not them saying it's the healthiest way, but you know, it could be something like their way of working things out, or just that's how they decided to come up with a solution for that problem or whatever. Now, the fact that it made the news or a headline is one thing, but at the end of the day, how does it affect you? Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? So if it's not affecting you, what I'm saying, you know, keep your opinion to yourself, or make sure it doesn't, put detriment on other people's well-being. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because that's how um that's how it was when I recorded my tape. Because I mean, I haven't recorded in a very long time, so like it's been a minute, but I'm starting to get my wits back, just day by day, little by little. But when I recorded, my tape engineer, he was like, I would be in a session, and if I was rushing something, he'd be like, "Nah, man, nah, man, that's not it." Like it was like the first time, like probably the second time we met. He's like, "Nah, man, that's not it." I'm like, "Oh, that's not it. What's wrong with it?" The whole thing was rushed. He would say it was rushed, or he said, or it felt like you were reading off the paper. He said, "Man, put the lyrics down and just remember in your head while you're doing it. Don't." He said, "Just don't read off of it." And I asked him, I said, "Why'd you like go about doing that?" He said, "Because it's more about a performance than anything. Nobody care. Well, some people care about the process, but the first thing when they hear when they hit that button on that song is, was that a good, like, was that a great song or something relatable to? They're not gonna be worrying about the process between or after. They might worry about after it's out, but it's more about performance. That's how he's always saw things.
Yeah, I mean that, like I mentioned earlier, that speaks to the quality of sound opposed to the subject matter. So you
Right,
could you could talk about anything, but unless it has a bop to it, or what I'm saying, you riding the beat with whatever you saying, and you merging the two to make a fantastic track, it doesn't matter. So I think that's what he was getting at. You gotta elevate yourself as a performer in order to become a good musical artist.
right.
Yeah, man. Uh, no doubt, no doubt, man. So, man, this has been dope, man. I appreciate you joining me today. I think that people are gonna get a lot out of it, and I also believe that a lot of people don't understand that young artists have these thoughts, and have these struggles when it comes to actually trying these days, and especially what I'm saying, when it comes to being a Christian artist. So a
Mhm.
lot of people, have that misconception that you know, they can only make music one way when that's not true. And
No.
I think that you show the people otherwise today. Just in your little world.
Mhm.
You know. So like I said, I appreciate you for joining me today. Why don't you let the people know where they can find you at and anything you want them to look out for?
Oh yeah. So you can find me on you can find me on social media on my Instagram, P_Martin98. You can find me on Facebook, Phillip Martin. And yeah, I got a new track coming out soon called Through the Storm. It's gonna be real. It's gonna be real, touching to the heart, and I hope it relates to everyone. And when it comes out, it's gonna be on all platforms. I say probably within a couple months. So yeah, so just make sure y'all look out for that. I appreciate y'all tuning in, and thank you for all your support and the ones that's gonna give it, in the future. So I really appreciate that.
What about previous projects you got out right now?
Oh, previous projects, I got a tape that I dropped a year or two ago, man, called Lord Open My Eyes. It's on Audio Mac. It's free. If y'all want to go check that out, I really appreciate it. But it's gonna be some new sounds and new dope stuff that's gonna be in y'all way. So just make sure y'all tune in. Y'all don't want to miss it.
No doubt, no doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, the Landover Legend, aka Big T, and this has been another installment of the I Can't Make This Up podcast. That's I Can't, with a K, Make This Up podcast. You can find me everywhere podcasts are available. I'm also on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to follow my guests and support them on all endeavors. And I appreciate any and all feedback, whether you liked it or not. So please let me know what you think, and I'll adhere to that. And if it's anything negative, I got no hate or nothing like that in my heart. I'm just gonna block you. But until next time, y'all take care.
All right.
Peace.
Take care, man. Thank you.
I can't make this up. Being the wingman got me punched in the face by this crazy chick. I can't make this up. Gave this cool old man to ride home, now I'm harboring the fugitive. I can't make this up. Pinned between the fat chick and the speaker, now my shirt smell like her backside. I can't make this up. It's all bad cause my man about to get stabbed in his hand over french fries. Bet.
I'ma let T tell you that story one day, man. It's a good one.
And I'ma let the Landover legend do the rest. I'm out.